Chosen ones, hear me clearly. This is not just another day, and this is not just another message. Tonight carries a shift that will define the rest of your life. Some of you have felt overlooked, misunderstood, even broken down by battles you didn't ask for. You've been asking yourself, why me? Why do I go through storms that others seem to escape? The answer is simple, because you were never ordinary. You were chosen. And when you are chosen, the road is harder because the destination is greater. Awakening of identity is one of the most powerful turning points in the life of a chosen one. For a long time, you may move through life feeling different without fully knowing why. You notice that you cannot blend in with the crowd, that things others find easy or enjoyable never quite satisfy your soul. You may have even tried to silence that inner voice, convincing yourself that you are just imagining it, that you are just like everyone else. But deep within, there is always a stirring, a gentle pull that reminds you of who you are and what you are called to be. This awakening does not happen by accident. It comes at the appointed time, often after seasons of struggle, confusion, or even deep pain, when the distractions of the world can no longer drown out the truth of your unique calling. The chosen are not ordinary. That is not a statement of arrogance, that of responsibility. To be chosen means to be marked, set apart, prepared for a mission greater than personal comfort or popularity. This is why the journey of a chosen one rarely looks like the journey of others. While others may run freely in any direction, the chosen find invisible boundaries guiding their steps. Where others can compromise without consequence, the chosen are quick-witted when they drift off course. This is the price, and the privilege of carrying a calling. Your life is not your own. The awakening of identity is the moment you stop resisting this truth and embrace it. This awakening often comes with discomfort because it forces you to shed false layers you have carried for years. You may have taken on labels others placed on you: too quiet, too weak, too strange, too intense. You may have buried your uniqueness under the pressure to fit in, to be accepted, or to avoid rejection. But when identity awakens, those false labels begin to fall away. You realize that what made you feel out of place was never weakness. It was your distinction. It was the evidence that you were designed for something more. The very qualities people misunderstood or criticized about you are often the exact traits needed for your purpose. Awakening also brings a deeper sense of responsibility. When you know you are chosen, you can no longer excuse yourself with, "I didn't know." You recognize that your gifts, talents, and insights are not random. They are entrusted to you to be developed and used for a higher cause. This realization is both liberating and sobering. It frees you from the trap of comparison because you finally understand that your race is unique. No one else can run it. But it also challenges you to rise up because ignoring your calling is no longer an option. You are accountable for what you carry. The chosen identity is also marked by resilience. Awakening helps you look back on your life with new eyes. You see how the very storms that nearly broke you were actually training you. You realize that the rejection that once crushed your spirit was a form of redirection. You see how isolation, though painful, was used to sharpen your clarity. Nothing was wasted. Every detail was shaping you into who you were meant to become. The awakening of identity reframes your past, giving pain and turning wounds into wisdom. This moment of awakening is not just about self-awareness, it is about alignment. It is when your inner life and outer life finally begin to match. The person you always felt within begins to emerge outwardly. You stop hiding, stop apologizing, stop deluding yourself to make others comfortable. You step into boldness not because life suddenly became easy, but because you now understand who you are and why you are here. Fear loses its grip because purpose has taken its place. From this point on, everything changes. Your decisions shift. Your standards rise. Your relationships adjust. You no longer waste time chasing validation from those who cannot see your worth. You no longer settle for paths that lead nowhere. You walk with clarity, even if the full picture is not yet revealed, because identity has awakened. And once it awakens, it cannot be silenced again. The chosen identity is not about superiority, but about stewardship. You were given something to carry that matters, not just for you, but for the world around you. You're awakening. It is time to rise into that role, to embrace your uniqueness as the very evidence of your calling. Tonight, as you awaken to who you really are, understand this truth. You are not ordinary. You never were. And the moment you stop fighting that reality is the moment your true life begins. The breaking process is one of the most essential seasons in the life of every chosen one. Before elevation comes testing, before authority comes crushing, before destiny comes delay. It is the period where everything you thought you knew about yourself, your strength, and even your faith is stretched to the edge. At times it feels unbearable, as if life itself is against you. Doors close, people walk away, plans fall apart, and you are left staring at the fragments of what once seemed so certain. But this is no accident. The breaking process is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the refining fire designed to strip away everything that cannot go with you into your next level. For the chosen, the breaking feels deeply personal because it is not just external circumstances. It touches the core of who you are. It challenges your identity, your confidence, and your belief in your purpose. The questions creep in. Am I really chosen? If I were, why would life be this hard? Why do I face battles that others seem to avoid? These doubts are not signs of weakness. They are part of the process. The breaking exposes hidden fears and insecurities so they can no longer hold you captive. It forces you to confront the illusions you have leaned on. Whether it is pride, comfort, or reliance on others, and replace them with unshakable inner strength. Every crushing season has a purpose. Just as olives must be pressed to release oil and grapes must be crushed to become wine, chosen ones must endure breaking to release their true essence. Without pressure, the hidden strength inside you would remain dormant. Without challenge, your faith would stay shallow. Without loss, you would never discover that what sustains you is not external but internal. The breaking teaches you endurance, not as a theory, but as a lived reality. It shows you that you can survive storms you thought would destroy you. During these seasons, isolation is common. Friends may drift away, support may vanish, and you may feel abandoned. Yet this loneliness is sacred because it forces you to rely not on noise, but on clarity. In the quiet, you learn to hear your own voice. In the absence of applause, you learn to stand firm without validation. In the silence, you hear the whisper of purpose calling louder than ever. The breaking strips away dependency on others and anchors you in the truth that chosen ones cannot lean on the crowd. They must walk a path carved specifically for them. The breaking also refines your motives. It asks, why are you pursuing this path? Is it for recognition or is it for impact? Is it for comfort or is it for calling? Struggle burns away false intentions. It humbles the ego and purifies desire until what remains is authentic, unshakable, and aligned with your true mission. Chosen ones emerge from breaking with hearts that are less about proving themselves and more about fulfilling their purpose. What feels like destruction is often divine construction. Every piece of your character is being shaped, every weakness exposed so it can be strengthened, every delay positioned so timing becomes perfect. Without breaking, you would carry unnecessary weight into your destiny, baggage of pride, fear, or immaturity that would sabotage your rise. The crushing season ensures that when you do step into your place of influence, you are not only stronger to enter, but strong enough to stay. Though painful, the breaking is temporary. It does not last forever. Just as the darkest night gives way to morning, Crushing seasons give way to breakthrough. And when you emerge, you will realize you are not the same person who entered. Your vision will be sharper, your endurance deeper, your faith unshakable. You will look back and see that the breaking did not destroy you. It revealed you. It brought forth resilience, courage, and authority that could not have been born any other way. So if you are in the breaking process now, do not despise it. Do not mistake it for rejection. It is the sacred passage every chosen one must walk. It is the hidden forge where greatness is shaped. You are not being broken to be discarded. You are being broken to be rebuilt stronger than ever. And when this season lifts, you will rise with a power, a wisdom, and a faith that will carry you into everything you were destined to become. Unseen protection is one of the most profound truths in the life of a chosen one, though it often goes unnoticed until you look back and realize what could have happened but didn't. There are moments in silence and isolation when you feel completely abandoned, when no one comes to help, when friends are absent, when support systems collapse. You might think you are vulnerable and exposed, as if the entire weight of the world is pressing against you without any shield. But the reality is far different. In those very seasons of loneliness, an invisible hand is guarding you from destruction. Chosen ones are never truly left unprotected, even when everything around them screams otherwise. Think about the countless times situations could have ended far worse than they did. The accident that didn't happen, the betrayal that didn't break you, the sickness that didn't destroy you, the depression that didn't consume you. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that while you were walking through valleys of despair, unseen protection was surrounding you. It does not always announce itself with flashing lights or dramatic rescues. Often, it operates quietly, removing dangers you never knew existed, blocking opportunities that would have harmed you, or shutting doors that you thought you needed, but that have derailed your purpose. For the chosen, silence and isolation are part of the journey. These seasons feel like exile, where your voice is unheard, your presence unnoticed, and your struggles unseen. Yet it is in this hidden place that unseen protection does its deepest work. When you are separated from the crowd, you are also separated from distractions and influences that could destroy what is being formed in you. Isolation feels like rejection, but in truth, it is preservation. You are being kept safe from environments, people, and situations that could damage your spirit before your time of rising. Unseen protection also works in the realm of endurance. There are battles you face where by logic you should have collapsed, where the pressure was too great for any human to bear, yet you came through. Something inside you refused to break completely. That resilience was not just your own strength. It was the shield of divine protection, preserving your mind, your hope, and your life. Many do not survive the storms you have faced, but you did. That survival is proof that you are being preserved for something greater. Chosen ones often misinterpret delays as abandonment. You pray and the answer seems slow. You cry out and the silence feels deafening. But what you cannot see is that protection often hides you while preparing the next step. If you were exposed too early, you would not be ready, or the world would not be ready for you. Timing matters. Just as seeds remain hidden underground, protected by the soil until they are strong enough to break through. Chosen ones are often covered in obscurity until the season is right. What looks like silence is actually a shield. Even betrayal, one of the deepest wounds of the chosen, becomes a form of protection. When people walk away, it hurts. But unseen protection ensures that only those who are meant to walk with you into destiny remain. Toxic alliances dissolve, shallow connections fade, and though it feels like loss, it is actually pruning. The shield of protection removes what cannot sustain your calling, leaving you lighter, clearer, and safer than before. This unseen shield is not always recognized in the moment. Most often, It is understood in hindsight. When you look back and realize how many things could have crushed you, you begin to see the invisible fingerprints of protection all over your story. You start to understand that if you are still here, it is because you were preserved intentionally. Destruction was permitted to come near, but never to consume. So, chosen one, even when you feel utterly alone, remember this: silence does not mean absence, and isolation does not mean abandonment. You are being guarded in ways you cannot yet imagine. What could have destroyed you has been turned back. What could have ended your story has been blocked. You are still standing, not by accident, but by design. The unseen protection around you is proof that your life is marked, your purpose preserved, and your destiny unstoppable. What surrounds you is greater than what threatens you. And when the time is right, that which was hidden will be revealed. Not just who you are, but the incredible shield that kept you safe all along. The shift of power is the moment every chosen one has been waiting for, often without even realizing it. It is the turning point where years of struggle, silence, and hidden preparation suddenly converge into a moment of unveiling. Tonight is not just another night on the calendar. It is the threshold of transformation. For so long, you have carried strength within you that no one else could see. You have endured battles that would have crushed ordinary people. You have been misunderstood and overlooked. Yet every tear, every lonely night, and every crushing season has been building something inside you that cannot be denied. The shift of power is when that hidden strength is no longer kept in the shadows but revealed for all to see. This transfer of authority is not about titles, applause, or external recognition. It is about the spiritual and internal authority that comes from surviving what should have destroyed you. Authority is forged in the fire of endurance. It is earned through scars, through lessons, through resilience. When chosen ones step into their shift of power, they are not the same as before. They no longer beg for validation, no longer shrink to make others comfortable, no longer fear the opinions of those who never understood their path. The authority within them speaks louder than any words because it is born of authenticity. The shift of power also brings a change in how you carry yourself. Where once you may have walked in uncertainty, now you walk in clarity. Where once you doubted your worth, now you stand in unshakable confidence. People will notice a difference in your presence even before you speak. There is a weight to your words, a steadiness in your spirit, because your authority is not borrowed from others. It flows from within. This kind of power cannot be faked, and it cannot be taken away. Tonight marks the turning point, because there comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the time of hiding ends. The strength that was once invisible becomes undeniable. The very people who overlook you will begin to recognize what has always been there. Some will resist it, some will resent it, but none will be able to ignore it. The authority you carry will shift atmospheres, change conversations, and open doors that once seemed permanently closed. This transfer of authority is not just personal, it is generational. When chosen ones rise, they do not rise only for themselves. They rise for families, for communities, for those connected to their destiny. What begins in you tonight has the power to ripple outward, breaking chains for others and lighting paths for those still wandering in the dark. Authority is not selfish. It is service with power. You are being entrusted with not to dominate, but to guide, to heal, to build. But here is the truth: power shifts suddenly, yet it is never sudden in preparation. Every delay, every trial, every rejection was shaping you for this exact moment. You may have felt hidden, but hidden does not mean forgotten. It means you were being protected and prepared until the time was right. Tonight is that time. The authority that was once silent within you is now being released outwardly. It will be undeniable. This moment also brings responsibility. To carry authority is to carry weight. You cannot use it recklessly or selfishly. It demands discipline, humility, and vision. The shift of power requires you to step into alignment with your higher calling, because you are no longer just surviving, you are leading. Every decision you make will now carry greater influence. Every word you speak will impact more lives. The shift does not just elevate you, it transforms you into a steward of something bigger than yourself. So understand this clearly tonight is not about waiting for change. It is about becoming the change. The hidden strength inside you is being revealed, and the authority you once longed for is being placed in your hands. This is the turning point, the unveiling, the moment you step fully into who you were always meant to be. The shift of power has arrived, and nothing will ever be the same again. The manifestation of purpose is one of the most powerful and undeniable seasons in the life of the chosen. It is the point where everything that felt delayed, resisted, or blocked begins to align quickly and visibly. For so long, you may have lived in a place of waiting. Waiting for clarity, waiting for opportunity, waiting for the moment when the effort you have poured out in faith would finally bear fruit. You have endured setbacks that made you question if your calling was real, delays that tested your patience, and resistance that may feel as if the entire world was working against you. Yet tonight marks the beginning of a shift. The manifestation of purpose means that the things which once seemed impossible begin to happen with unexpected speed. It is as though the universe itself suddenly clears a path for you because the time has come for your calling to be revealed. Manifestation is not magic, it is alignment. It is the moment when all the invisible preparation collides with visible opportunity. For years, you may have felt unseen, as if your gifts were hidden in the shadows, but what was being built quietly within you is now ready to be displayed openly. Purpose is not something you chase, it is something that begins to chase you when the season is right. Doors you could not force open will begin to unlock. Connections you could not orchestrate will come together. The work that felt fruitless will suddenly yield results. This is the power of manifestation. It accelerates what was once stagnant and makes visible what was once concealed. For the chosen, delays are never denials. They are a form of protection. When you were not ready, purpose was withheld, not to punish you, but to preserve you. To manifest prematurely is to sabotage destiny. That is why certain opportunities passed you by, certain relationships ended, and certain dreams seemed slow to develop. But the moment of manifestation arrives when both you and your environment are prepared. Tonight is the night when those unseen alignments begin to surface, and you realize that nothing was wasted. Every disappointment, every detour, every delay was shaping the ground for your purpose to take root and grow. The manifestation of purpose also changes how you see yourself. When you begin to walk in the reality of your calling, the doubts that once consumed you lose their power. What once felt like wishful thinking now becomes undeniable evidence. You no longer have to convince others of your worth or argue about your place in the world. Your results will speak for themselves. Manifestation silences critics because it makes visible what can no longer be denied. The fruit of your journey becomes clear, and those who once doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge that something greater has been at work in your life. This season also brings a deep sense of acceleration. What once took years will now take months. What once felt like pushing against a wall will suddenly feel like being carried by a current. It is not that the struggles of the past were meaningless. They were necessary to prepare you for this speed. You now have the wisdom to handle what is coming, the resilience to endure the pressure of success, and the humility to remember where you came from. Manifestation is not just about opportunity. It is about readiness. And now, you are ready. Purpose made visible also demands stewardship. With new influence comes new responsibility. The manifestation of purpose requires that you handle success with integrity, that you use your platform not for self-indulgence, but for impact. Chosen ones are never elevated simply for themselves. They are elevated to serve, to guide, to uplift others. Your purpose is not just your gift. It is your assignment. And now that it is manifesting, you must walk in it with discipline, courage, and clarity. So tonight, recognize this truth. What was once resisted will no longer resist you. What was once delayed will no longer be withheld. Alignment is happening quickly, visibly, undeniably. This is your season of manifestation, the moment when everything shifts into place. You no longer have to wonder if your purpose is real. You will see it with your own eyes, and so will everyone around you. The time of waiting is over. The season of becoming is here. Unstoppable transformation is the final stage of the chosen one's journey. The point of no return where everything changes and nothing can ever go back to the way it was before. After tonight, weakness no longer defines you, confusion no longer controls you, and fear no longer dictates your steps. You have been through the fire, through breaking, through isolation, through delays and resistance, and yet here you stand. That in itself is proof of transformation. But what makes this moment unstoppable is that what has been forged inside you cannot be undone. Once strength is revealed, it cannot be hidden again. Once clarity is given, it cannot be clouded by old doubts. Once destiny is awakened, it cannot be ignored. This is the power of transformation that marks the chosen. It is permanent, undeniable, and irreversible. For so long, you may have identified yourself through the lens of weakness. You remembered the times you failed, the moments you doubted, the seasons when you felt powerless. Those memories once defined you, making you question whether you were truly capable of living out your calling. But transformation means that weakness is no longer your identity. It is simply part of your history. The struggles you endured did not disqualify you. They refined you. They stripped away the fragile layers of who you thought you were and uncovered the unshakable strength of who you truly are. Tonight marks the moment where the balance shifts permanently from fragile survival to undeniable strength. This transformation also brings clarity. In the past, confusion may have blurred your vision. You wondered about your purpose, second-guessed your decisions, and wavered between fear and faith. But tonight, that fog lifts. Transformation clears and aligns your inner compass with your higher calling. You begin to see with sharper vision, not just what lies ahead, but also why you had to endure, what lies behind. Every detour, every heartbreak, every delay suddenly makes sense, because it was all preparing you for this moment of clarity. Once you see your life through the lens of destiny, you can never unsee it. Old confusion has no power over someone who has tasted clarity. Destiny, too, becomes undeniable after unstoppable transformation. Many people live their entire lives without ever stepping into the fullness of who they were meant to be. But the chosen cannot escape destiny. It follows them through trials. It calls to them in the silence, and it pulls them forward even when everything else seems to hold them back. Tonight is the moment when destiny and readiness collide. You are no longer someone waiting for permission or searching for validation. You are someone appointed, someone unleashed. That destiny will now guide every step, and nothing, not resistance, not fear, not opposition, can prevent it from unfolding. Unstoppable transformation means the old cycles are broken. The patterns that once kept you trapped lose their hold. The doubts that once whispered failure are silenced. The fears that once paralyzed you no longer carry weight. Transformation has shifted the ground beneath you, and from this point forward, you stand in a new reality. Even if challenges come, and they will, you will face them differently. You will not collapse under pressure as you once did. You will not shrink back into old versions of yourself. You will stand strong and unshaken, because transformation has made you into someone who cannot be moved easily again. This is why after tonight, the chosen do not return to weakness. The strength they have discovered is not temporary. It is rooted in resilience, discipline, and divine alignment. The clarity they carry cannot be clouded because it has been earned through darkness and doubt. The destiny they now live in cannot be stolen because it is woven into their very identity. Unstoppable transformation means that you have crossed a line from which there is no turning back. You are no longer becoming, you have become. So understand this. Tonight is not simply a moment of encouragement. It is a declaration of permanence. What has shifted inside you will manifest outside of you. What has awakened and you will ripple into every area of your life. You will think differently, move differently, speak differently, and live differently because transformation has taken root. From this point forward, weakness is behind you, strength is within you, clarity is before you, and destiny is around you. You are unstoppable, not because life will suddenly be easy, but because you've been transformed into someone who cannot be broken by what once crushed you. And that is the power of tonight. Chosen one, now that the truth has been spoken, understand this. Your journey was never random, your pain was never wasted, and your delays were never denials. Everything you have endured was shaping you for this very moment. The awakening of identity taught you that you are not ordinary. You were set apart for a purpose bigger than yourself. The breaking process refined you, stripping away what was weak so that only strength could remain. The unseen protection kept you alive and preserved your destiny when destruction tried to consume you. The shift of power marked the moment where what was hidden became visible and the authority inside you was finally released. The manifestation of purpose showed that what once resisted you is now aligning quickly and visibly. And now, the unstoppable transformation seals the truth. You cannot go back. Weakness is no longer your home. Strength, clarity, and destiny are your reality. Tonight is not just another night. Tonight is a divine marker, the line in the sand, the turning point from you were to who you were always meant to be. From this moment forward, you will carry yourself differently. You will no longer apologize for being chosen. You will no longer shrink to fit into places that cannot contain you. You will no longer live in hesitation or fear, because the power that has been revealed in you cannot be undone. Everything in your life, your relationships, your opportunities, your influence, will begin to align with this new reality. Doors that once refused to open will swing wide. People who once you will have no choice but to notice. The same environments that once drained you will no longer hold you because you have outgrown them. Your steps will be guided by clarity, your heart will be anchored in purpose, and your destiny will unfold in ways that even you did not expect. So lift your head, stand tall. Walk forward with courage, because you have crossed over into the season you were created for. You are chosen, you are powerful, and you are unstoppable. This is your time, and nothing, no force, no opposition, no doubt can take it away from you. Tonight marks the beginning of the rest of your life. Step into it fully. The world is waiting for the strength, the clarity, and the destiny that only you carry.